Welcome to the Expertise Unlocked podcast, a part of IR Global, the largest international professional services network. I'm your host of the podcast, Jennifer Riggins. Today, we're sitting down with Kerry Wang, Senior Associate Attorney at Braumiller Law Group, and we're diving into all things international trade law. Hi, Kerry. How are you doing today? How about you want to start by introducing yourself and give your relevant experience, please?
Sure. Hi, Jennifer. It's great to be here. I'm Kerry Wang. I am a senior associate attorney at Braumiller Law Group. Our firm specializes in international trade law. We advise on every aspect of international trade. I was born and raised in China, where I attended both medical school and law school. I practiced law in China before coming to the States. I went to UCLA Law School, where I got my Juris Doctor degree. Since graduating, I have been dedicated to the field of international trade.
Wow, so you must have made your parents either very happy or disappointed you didn't become a doctor. But that is exceptionally
Yes,
difficult education to have chosen. Does
I
it
know.
apply to your day job? Like in international law, does your medical background ever come involved?
Yes, it did. It did actually when I assist to pharmaceutical clients or medical device clients. It came to really handy because I found myself can grasp the concept really quickly. I think it was largely due to my medical training when I was in China.
Wow. Also, I guess there's a lot of Latin in both of those jobs.
Yes.
So, who would benefit? I always like to lay this table stakes, as they say here in the UK. Who would benefit from listening to this conversation?
I think everyone involved in international trade would find this relevant. Um, Includes importers, exporters, customer brokers, business owners who deal with import export activities, legal professionals and consultants who advise on trade. Additionally, students and academics who are interested in international trade law would find this conversation relevant and potentially helpful.
Great. I don't think anyone's ever thought before about the academic space that could learn from it. And I think you're the first on the many years of this podcast that's brought that up. But I think that's a wonderful thought because there's always
Thank you.
delay or this lag sometimes between academia and the reality. So that helps boost them up. They could listen to podcasts and watch YouTube videos. So I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Kerry.
Of course, Jennifer.
And so, what sparked your interest in international trade law, and how has that shaped your career?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question to start. So my interest in international trade law really took off while I was studying at UCLA Law School. I started to understand just how important, crucial the trade relationships between China and the US. As we all know, these relations can be pretty tense at times, especially it was highlighted during the trade war when the former President Trump imposed Section 301 duties on billions of Chinese imports. As I was born and raised in China and I cherish my homeland, at the same time, I'm very grateful of the top tier law school, the legal training I received in the United States, which I consider my second home now. I felt a strong urge to contribute something positively to the intense relationships between China and the US. I see myself as a bridge connecting the two largest economies and fostering better trade relations. I truly enjoy what I do because I know how impactful and meaningful it is.
Yeah, I don't think we talk enough about how important international trade law is and this intermediaries or conduits to make these things happen. I think probably when the boat was stuck in the canal, we started to be, and even with the pandemic, we started as the average person, the average consumer, to be a little more aware of the supply chain and how tariffs affect things, et cetera, et cetera. And so
Yes.
in your job, are you representing Chinese importers or American exporters to China or both, or what, how does that work?
We represent both. We represent US importers. They can be, sometimes they can speak Mandarin, but they can also be the US firms. We also represent that importers that are located in China, that who wants to penetrate the US market. Meanwhile, we represent the exporters, the US exporters. They can also be speak both Mandarin or Chinese if they want to bring goods out of the US. So we represent clients to your answer, both like Chinese American clients or sometimes like a Spanish clients. Oh, we have clients all over the place.
Oh, fantastic. And you're fluent in Mandarin and English, right? So that, I guess you need to not just be fluent, like I can speak Spanish, but I can't do international trade law well in either language. But
Yeah, that has been a huge advantage. I'm fortunate enough to receive legal education in both China and the US. So it provides me a holistic perspective on navigating complex trade matters. Being able to review documents in their own original language is definitely a huge advantage as it helps me understand situation quickly. It allows me to communicate directly with clients, stakeholders, and authorities in their native language, which is very important when we work on some complex trade compliance issues. Recently, I helped the clients who had their merchandise excluded at the time of entry. So due to the exclusion was due to some supply chain concerns, and their entire supply chain was located in China. So I was able to connect with their Chinese team and provided instant guidance on how to prepare the submission package to CBP. And because I was able to communicate them with effectively, we worked closely and we worked back and forth to finalize the verification package. So after we submitted the package, just 7 days later, as of yesterday, we received two protests approval, which was a great success for us as it was a relative, novel and complicated issue. So I contributed the approval largely due to the submission package we prepared, and the preparation was we can perform the preparation so quickly was largely because we can communicate it with the Chinese team effectively and efficiently. Since I spoke Chinese, the client was not in need for a meet party to help us facilitate the translation or communication. It is also cost effective for clients. So that is just an example to say to speak both Mandarin and English has been truly beneficial for my practice.
absolutely, I would say so. And definitely the IR Global Network is a logical part in Braumiller law, because if you are involving, it's not always going straight from China to the US, it may be going through a third country, and you may need lawyers that specialize in those countries, or you may have them, but it's good to have all these different international partnerships. Will all ships rise when we work together and communicate better? But that doesn't make it easy when you're using all these cool words that not everyone understands in different languages. So whether we're talking about our audience, which could be an importer, exporter, or people considering that, or if you are a student listening to this podcast or watching this YouTube video or watching a TikTok version of it or whatever kids these days do, what are some topics of international law that international trade law that we should really know about right now and that you're very passionate about? And what challenges are there?
Challenges. So we can start talking about the challenges. Then I can share some my recent passions and my recent passion. Yeah. So for companies that engage in importing and exporting business, they face a variety or a wide array of challenges on a daily basis. But I think the first one is navigating the complex customs international trade regulations. The paradigm of the trade has shifted quite a lot in the past decade. It is no longer, the trade liberalization is no longer existing. So right now we have shifted from the trade liberalization to economic nationalism. New laws and rules are emerging have emerged all the time due to political and economic pressure, such as the recent semiconductor new rules on exports to China and Section 301 duties and exclusions. The new changes are happening all the time. It is complicated for companies and firms to stay informed of all those new rules and new laws. So that is the biggest challenge. And secondly, we work with many importers and exporters on a daily basis, and not all of them have a compliance program or even a basic import and export manual in place, despite regularly engaging in trade activities. So many times, I often encounter the situation as importer just to tell us we have this trusted custom broker. We trust our broker. We have been relying on our brokers, or sometimes worstly, they will say we have been relying on our freight forwarders on everything. So, however, when issue arises, the brokers, the importers, exporters, they just realize that their brokers are just helping them facilitate the process, and they would never be held. I should never say never. They would rarely be held liable for those consequences because under the law, the importers are ultimately responsible for the consequences. Even sometimes it can be a broker error. So the importers have to know that, understand the importance of the compliance program, and they also understand the reasonable care because they have to ensure that they have demonstrated the reasonable care to prevent future penalties or audit situations. So if you have been importing for a couple of years, you still haven't have access to your ACE account, or you still haven't really understand what is the tariff classification, what type of evaluation method you're using, that can be considered as a lacking of reasonable care. So that is another challenge I'm observing on a daily basis.
One of your areas of extensive experience and expertise is on duty recovery opportunities. Can you explain what that is and what's the impact of these services on a company's bottom line or their compliance status? Start from the beginning. Act like I'm a first year law student and I have no idea what you're talking about, or pre-law like I was.
Yes, sure. So duty recovery can make a significant difference for companies. So a lot of times we help clients identifying overpaid duties and make sure they got the refunds for the overpaid money. Right. So by identifying those duty saving opportunities, we help them lower the overall costs. We directly boost their cash flow from the bottom line. But during this process, it's no longer just about saving money. It also helped us to review their compliance status during this process. So many companies, with our help, they can use this opportunity to ensure that they classifying merchandise correctly, they use evaluation strategy correctly, they adhere to all those relevant customs regulations. So it is truly a beneficial process for all the companies that engage in importing activities. So, in terms of duty recovery opportunities, we also have a wide array of strategies you can utilize. We have classification engineer, valuation strategies, or sometimes we call it first value, first to sell strategy. We can recommend client. We can help client to utilize the various free trade agreements. We can also help clients to identify a duty drawback recovery to do a feasibility study on duty drawback opportunities. We can also help clients to evaluate if foreign trade zones or bonded warehouse would be beneficial. So one thing is you're not limited to only use one of the strategies. You can actually use a various strategy at the same time. For example, a lot of times we recommend client to utilize foreign trade loan and the duty drawback to enjoy a comprehensive duty saving opportunities. On this note, I actually wrote a series of duty saving strategies where I wrote a series of articles that share different types of duty saving strategies. So if any of you are interested, you can go to our Braumiller Law website to look at the articles I wrote on this topic.
And we'll be sure to include that and how to your contact info or your LinkedIn in the show notes so people can dive into that. But I just have a question because I just don't associate governments as giving back, refunding money. Is
They are
there
refunding
statute?
money with interest, actually. Yes.
Oh, because I guess it was their error then? So is there
No,
a statute of limitations on that, or how long are people getting back money from?
yeah, so you can get you can get money before how to say, you can save money before you make the entry by identifying the duty saving opportunities beforehand. Meanwhile, if you identify there is a duty saving opportunities after you make the entry, you can file a protest, which is the limitation is 180 days after the date of liquidation. So the the government did offer a time frame for you to get to get the refunds, but it's I have to you will have a timeline if you have filed the entries. So that's what I'm saying. For example, for duty drawback, you also have a time frame from the 5 years from the time of import. So there are some deadlines if you have made the entries, but if you plan ahead, if you engage us from the beginning, you wouldn't encounter that issue, right? So we can help you identify those opportunities right before you wanted to engage in any importing activities. We can make sure you won't overpay duties when you want to bring the goods into the country.
And I realized we've been talking about the US and China like they're monoliths, but the US legally is very varying per state. So where are you or your team able to practice law in the US? Like which states? I think that would be interesting to those listening to know.
Yes, absolutely. So our firm is based in Dallas, Texas. That's our headquarter, our base office. And I personally reside in California. I was admitted to practice law in the state of California, and we do have two satellite office. One is located in Mexico, and the other is located in Canada, where we assist clients on where they assist clients on a lot of Canadian trade issues and USMCA issues from a Mexico consul's perspective.
Okay, so that means that they either have to, and I could be very wrong, if they're a US company, they have to be based in either California or Texas to leverage your business, or they can be based anywhere in the US and you can represent them on federal law? I don't know.
Yes, the latter. Regards to location, we can assist you as long as you are engaging in international trade.
Okay, cool. I just wasn't sure and I thought I should definitely ask. And
Thank you, Jennifer. That's an important question.
and is there anything else I should be asking you? Anything else that you're excited to talk about in the world of international law today?
I think earlier I mentioned I also wanted to talk about my recent passion projects. There are lately I've been really passionate about two areas of aspects of the international law. One is a very heated topic. It's Build America and Buy America Act. So sometimes we call it BABA. It's a interesting name. Yeah. So BABA is part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, IJA. The IJA, it administers 1.2 trillion for extensive infrastructure funding. So this is the largest investment in local government infrastructure since the New Deal in the 30s. So this provides a lot of funding to the companies that engage in infrastructure projects. So we have been, but in order to secure funding, you have to comply a very important component, which is BABA. So it is basically a Buy America preference program. The goal of this program is to bolster the local manufacturing in the US. So a lot of the standards in the BABA, stipulated in BABA, require components, construction materials, manufactured products, iron steel products are manufactured in the US. And based on the category of the products, the standards are varies differently. So we have been working with many clients closely on this to help them understand the BABA and also help them interpret various federal agency waivers, guidance letters on this issue. So this is a very new law, and a lot of the guidance are relatively new, and they have been constantly publishing new guidance all the time. So it has been a really fascinating area of law that I have dedicated some of time into recently. Another one I'm also want to bring up here is the Chinese or China's foreign direct investment in Mexico. So as we all know, the trade relations between China and the U.S. has been intense. So in China, there is a prevailing perception that the United States is a hindering or is attempting to hindering its ascent as a global economy powerhouse. So this sentiment has been highlighted by the ongoing U.S.-China trade war. But despite the intense the geopolitical tensions, commercial ties between US and China remain strong and robust. So Chinese companies, they are increasingly adopting a nearshoring strategy to move production close to their target market, the United States, to Mexico. So that's the biggest reason that there is a surge of China's foreign direct investment in Mexico. So foreign direct investment is not about money changing hands. It's about building factories in Mexico, creating millions of job opportunities, booster local economies, bring new technology to Mexico, and by relocating to Mexico, Chinese firms can leverage the benefits of the United States Mexico Canada agreement we call USMCA, which allows the Chinese products and made in Mexico. Sorry, not no longer. So here is no longer Chinese products, which allows products made in Mexico to enter the U.S. duty free. So basically, the products here are no longer made in China. instead they are made in Mexico. So that is the whole saga about China's surging foreign direct investments in Mexico. So recently we have been approached by many large Chinese firms who wanted to adopt this strategy. So they came to us to seek guidance on complying with these regulations, the one I mentioned, USMCA, and also, furthermore, in Mexico, there are another sets of laws and regulations the Chinese companies are not familiar with. So, as I mentioned, we have a satellite office in Mexico, and we also are a group of attorneys that are specialized in international trade in the United States. So, we are really well positioned and well equipped to assist the Chinese firms that who want to adopt this strategy. So, our team can help you. Ensure that all your foreign direct investment meet all the relevant compliance and the legal requirements. So that has been a really good a really good passionate project for me, because as I mentioned from the very beginning, I had this vision, I had this mission that I felt like, because my unique backgrounds, and I'm fortunate to enough to receive education from both China and the US, I really wanted to do something that can booster the trade relations and help benefit the both economies. So this has been a passion of me lately.
And of course, it's benefiting the Mexican economy as
Yes,
well, for sure.
yes,
Are
exactly.
you
Yes.
learning Spanish now? Are you studying Hablas Español?
Yeah, I wish. Maybe next. That's my third passion
It's
project.
a Latin language, so you'll probably pick it out like that. But yeah.
I don't know. The language are complicated. It's even in English, I still fascinated about the things I'm not aware of on a daily basis. I still have to use dictionaries all the time. Yeah, if I don't speak Chinese for a while, I realize I may forget a word. I even know how to write that word. So I have to constantly practice both.
That's
Yeah, it's
fantastic, though. It's not bad to have something like that. Like I hear Spanish every day, but I don't speak it enough in my home. So you, at least your work keeps it very strong. And hopefully, I think if there's law students are listening, foreign
yes.
language is an extremely valuable skill. Also, at least in the US, they're constantly talking about how they want people from different backgrounds to apply to law school. If you have a biology degree or an environmental science degree or math, there are really valuable perspective you can specialize in law. So I think that's a great perspective. Thank you so much for this time,
Can't
Kerry.
agree more. Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you, Jennifer. It has been a very a great conversation with you. I appreciate the opportunity.
And if our listeners want to get in touch with you to learn more about you, grill you for jobs or internships, learn about your legal services at Braumiller Law, or if they have any more questions, how do they get in touch with you?
They can absolutely reveal our website. We have all our attorneys' information there. Even the one I mentioned, the Mexico Legal Counsel. If you're located in Mexico, you wanted to learn more about the foreign direct investment, you can reach out to our Mexico Counsel, and you will also find all our contact information on our website, which is braumillerlaw.com. And you can also feel free to send me an email to Kerry, Kerry, at braumillerlaw.com. And I will be happy to address any questions you may have. And yeah, let's get in touch.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you to our listeners. These Expertise Unlocked podcast episodes are meant to be educational resources from experienced lawyers, accountants, and financial advisors, these trusted advisors you need that have the extensive knowledge on topics you as professionals need to know about. To learn more about IR Global and its services, please visit irglobal.com. And if you found this episode useful, please consider sharing it. Thanks, y'all.